Dragon Quest X has several camera and control settings that can make battle inputs faster, more consistent, and easier to manage. This is Happy, and in this video I'll show you the settings I use and I recommend for improving visibility, building menu muscle memory, and avoiding accidental inputs. These settings are useful for players at any level, but they become especially important in harder content. Most camera and control options can be found under Main Menu, to Miscellaneous, to Settings, to Preferences. In the camera setting, the first thing I recommend is setting your Battle Viewpoint to 5. This gives you the widest view of the battlefield, making it easier to see enemy positioning, party members, area attacks, and anything happening around your character. A closer camera gives you less information, so setting the viewpoint to 5 is the best option for battle visibility. Next we have Battle Height, which I also recommend setting Battle Height to 5, the highest possible height. The higher camera makes it easier to judge distances, recognize attack ranges, avoid floor hazards, and understand everyone's positioning. This is especially useful when avoiding line or cone attacks or when walling against a boss. For battle purposes, the highest camera angle provides the clearest overall visibility. Next we have the camera autofollow. The autofollow is more dependent on personal preference. When enabled, the camera automatically adjusts itself as your character moves. Personally, I keep this setting off because I want full control over what the camera is showing me. I do not want the game moving the camera away from something I am intentionally looking at. However, some players may find the automatic camera movement more comfortable, so this setting is ultimately up to your preference. Next up, we have the camera speed. I recommend setting the camera speed to very fast. Being able to rotate the camera quickly allows you to check your surroundings as soon as possible. This is especially helpful when you need to look behind your character, find a party member, locate an enemy, or check what is happening elsewhere in the arena. A slower camera can delay the information you need, so very fast is the best setting for quickly checking the battlefield. Next we have the battle control menu. And within the battle control menu, we have the target closest setting. The target closest button automatically selects the nearest available enemy or party member. This is convenient in content such as ADF or Tower of Terror or Bama, where quickly targeting whatever is nearby can be useful. It can sometimes select an unintended target, but this is usually a relatively minor issue. The main reason I turned this setting off is that it takes away one of the buttons that can be used to stagger your inputs. By alternating between two confirm buttons, you can perform menu inputs extremely quickly. This is especially useful when trying to activate attacks as soon as possible. Because target closest replaces that second input button, it can interfere with this technique. For general or casual content, leaving it enabled is perfectly reasonable. For faster and more optimized inputs, I recommend turning it off. Next up we have the Defend Display setting. Defend Display gives you access to the standard Defend command. This is useful, but I personally turn this setting off because I prefer using Pincushion. Both Defend and Pincushion reduce physical damage, but Pincushion can reduce even more damage when strengthened through the Master Orb. Turning off Defend forces me to rely on Pincushion and build a habit of using it instead. Keeping Defend enabled as backup is still a reasonable option, especially while learning, however I personally keep it disabled. Next up, we have Command Canceling. I personally turned this off. This setting allows you to cancel an action by moving or flicking the control stick, but I prefer using the B button whenever I intentionally want to cancel something. While an attack animation is playing, I may already be holding the control stick towards where I want to move next. I would not want that movement input to accidentally cancel my selected action. Using B gives me more deliberate control and avoids unintended cancellations. Next up is cursor memory, which I heavily prefer having off. This makes your cursor begin from the same location whenever you open the command menu, allowing you to build consistent muscle memory. For example, I normally place my main attack in the top left, Sobering Slap in the top right, and Pincushion directly below Sobering Slap. I try to keep important shared skills in the same locations across different vocations. When every skill has a consistent position, you can memorize the directional inputs instead of searching through the menu every turn. Leaving cursor memory enabled can make the cursor's starting position less predictable, which may slow down navigation or lead to accidental skill usage. Being able to use important skills quickly is very valuable, so I strongly lean towards having it off. And the last setting I'm going to go over in battle control is speech bubbles. I recommend setting speech bubbles to 2. This allows multiple speech bubbles to be displayed at the same time, so you can both see an action an enemy is preparing and separate messages for status effects. This is important because the appearance and disappearance of an enemy's speech bubble are connected to the timing of its attack. Having the display set to 2 prevents other information from immediately replacing the attack name, making it easier to clearly track both the enemy's action and any status effects happening at the same time. For the clearest possible information during battle, I strongly recommend keeping this setting to 2. And for the last section, I am going to be going over the battle commands. This is going to be in settings, character, battle commands. To start off, we are organizing the skills and spells. Every single vocation has different priorities, so there's no single correct menu layout. However, certain shared skills should remain in consistent locations across your vocations. For example, I keep Pincushion and Sobering Slap in the same positions whenever they are available. I also use a 2-column layout. This allows me to see more skills at once and makes it easier to check when my cooldown abilities are ready. My skills placed on the far right of the final page are also extremely easy to reach. From the first page, you can simply press left to immediately wrap around to them. This makes the final page a useful location for skills that are important but do not belong on your main page. Next up is the display setting. This game completely allows you to hide skills and spells from your battle menu. Personally, I do not normally do this, as instead I move skills I do not expect to use onto later pages. For even if a skill is rarely useful, there may be an unusual situation where I need it. I might also misunderstandify it or make a mistake while organizing my menu. Keeping the skill available on a later page means it is still there as a backup without cluttering the pages I normally use. This is just my personal preference, however. And last is the option to show your spells in your skills menu. You can display spells inside the skills menu, which can be useful, but it can also create additional clutter, so I recommend deciding separately for each vocation. For a vocation such as Mage, I prefer keeping skills and spells separate, because spells are a major part of the vocation and need their own organized menu. For Demon Swordsman, I do the opposite. I move the spells I may use into the skills menu and disable every spell in the normal spells menu. Most Demon Swordsman spells are either unnecessary or rarely used, so disabling that menu could also prevent me from having accidental button inputs that leave me stuck inside the spells menu when I intended to open skills. This setting is ultimately personal preference, so organize it around each vocation actually plays. And that's my settings for Dragon Quest X. Good settings will not replace battle knowledge or practice, but they make your actions faster, more predictable, and easier to control. The less time you spend fighting against your own camera and menus, the more attention you can give to the actual battle. That's all from me. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope to see you guys again soon.